This video is for a complete beginner who just started studying for the GMAT. If you have no idea what data sufficiency is, this video is for you. The data sufficiency questions are a unique feature of the GMAT that make the GMAT math harder. In the actual GMAT test, you will solve 31 quantitative questions. Of these, about 25 to 45% are data sufficiency and 55 to 75% are problem solving. We are used to solving math questions with answers like problem solving, but data sufficiency is different. It's only asking for sufficiency. Does the question have enough information to solve it? If you can arrive at solid yes or no, then it is solvable. Now, here comes the tricky part. If we arrive at a conclusion that the answer is no, then we tend to think that the question is wrong and therefore not solvable. However, in the data sufficiency type questions, it is solvable. For example, if you are given a question of is x greater than 3 and we have a statement that x is less than 0, then the statement is sufficient to solve the question. We know that x is not greater than 3. Since it is sufficient to answer no, the question is sufficient. It's a little bit confusing, right? It takes a while to get familiar with this concept. Practice. Then you might ask, when is it not sufficient? If a question's data are not sufficient, then we cannot answer either yes or no. That means there are multiple possibilities to the question and given statement. If a statement leads to multiple answers that may contradict, then it is not sufficient. For example, look at this question. Is x greater than 0? Statement 1 says x is an integer. Statement 2 says when adding 5 to x, the number is positive. And we have answer choices like this. A. Statement 1 is sufficient alone, but 2 is not. B. Statement 2 is sufficient alone, but 1 is not. C. Both statements are needed to be sufficient. D. Each statement is sufficient alone independently. E. Not enough data. The question is not sufficient. Here we are asked if x is greater than 0. Statement 1 indicates that x is an integer. However, we have multiple possibilities here. X can be a negative integer as well. X can be 1 or minus 1. So statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Again, if a statement has answers that contradict, it means it's not sufficient. What about statement 2? It says when adding 5 to x, the number is positive. If we add 5 to minus 4, the number is 1. We can also add 5 to 4 and the number is still positive. Here x can be either positive or negative number to fulfill the statement. Again, the statement has answers that contradict with multiple possibilities. Therefore, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. What if we have both statements 1 and 2? Still, it is not sufficient because we use integers in sample cases. In this case, the question itself is not sufficient. Therefore, the answer is E. Now, let us explore the formats of data sufficiency. Note that the data sufficiency questions always have the same answer choices. So you must memorize the answer choices and be able to answer the questions without reading them each time you solve a question. The actual GMAT answer choices show like this. However, you can shorten and summarize like the following. A. Statement 1 is enough, but 2 is not. B. Statement 2 is enough, but 1 is not. C. Both statements are needed. D. Each is sufficient independently. E. Impossible to answer, which means the data is not sufficient even with both statements. Make sure to memorize these answer choices so that you can solve quickly without reading them. There is a classic data sufficiency workflow. This is a basic workflow that you need to master to save your time. Usually, you read the question and then begin with statement 1. If you find that statement 1 is sufficient alone, then you know that the answer choice B, where the statement 2 is enough but 1 is not, can be eliminated. Since you can answer with statement 1 only, that means you don't need both statements. So C can be eliminated as well. Also, since you can answer with statement 1 only, answer choice E also can be eliminated since it is possible to answer the question. So you can see that if you can answer A, you find that you can eliminate B, C, and E altogether. You can decide between answer choices A and D and see if each statement 1 and 2 is independently sufficient alone. What if you find that statement 1 is not enough to answer? That means you can eliminate A and move on to B. it means you can eliminate D, which is each statement is sufficient independently. Then you can decide among B, C, and E. So you see there are two ways to answer the data sufficiency question. If you find the statement 1 enough alone, the answers are either A or D. If you find the statement 1 is not enough, then the answers are either B, C, or E. An easy way to memorize this is AD and BC in timeline. Visualize the timeline like this. AD stands for anno-Domini and BC before common era. To sum up, is statement 1 enough? If yes, then we get AD. Is statement 1 not enough? Then we time travel to the ancient time BCE. Let us solve a data sufficiency question and see if you got the concept solid. After reading the question, pause the video for a moment and solve for yourself. If there are only milk chocolates and dark chocolates in a box, how many dark chocolates are there in the box? 1. There is a total of 60 chocolates in the box. 2. The ratio of milk chocolate to dark chocolate is 2 to 1. It is a good idea to set variables for word problems. Let us denote milk chocolates as M and dark chocolates as D. The question is asking, what is D? Statement 1 gives us the total number. It means M plus D equals 60. You can see that we still have two variables, so it's not solvable alone with statement 1. Eliminate A and D. Now, we look at statement 2. It gives us the ratio of M to D, which is 2 to 1. This means there are twice the number of milk chocolates to dark chocolates. Now, here's the GMAT tip you need to memorize. If you see a ratio given in any statement, just know that that statement alone is not sufficient. That's because the ratio is the proportional relationship and does not include any definite numbers. Ratio always needs one definite number to deduce another number. Therefore, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. Since B is out, now we explore if both statements are sufficient. We have a total of 60 chocolates, and we have twice the number of milk chocolates to the dark chocolate. If we let x equal the number of dark chocolates, then we have 2x plus x equals 60. Adding up, this is 3x equals 60. And divide by 3, then we get x is equal to 20. Now we know that the number of dark chocolates is 20. Since both statements are needed to be sufficient to solve, C is the answer. Hope you got a nice introduction to data sufficiency. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and happy studying.